I had a good time with this one.
I like this one.
I do too. I'm Matt, by the way.
I'm Sam. And we are looking at Doctor Who, Episode 8 of Season 9.
The Zygon Inversion. I think it was very interesting to take a break from the whole, human Zygon war plot to focus on the cultural tradition of Zygons dancing on their head, known as the Zygon Inversion.
It was great. I learned a lot about the Zygons, I think.
We really examined their culture now.
Yeah.
I'm a little lost on whether Clara's going to be back in the series.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if she's dead or...
I think with what I learned about Zygons, I don't even care. This episode was a follow-up to last week's Paranoid Adventure, and this one is more of a, straightforward story. It doesn't have that paranoia, which was sort of weirdly uncommon for Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But it had some great stuff, and I think may have even been a better story overall.
I thought so. I really loved it. I loved Peter Capaldi in it, in that last scene. This was the first time in the entirety of this revived series that I saw the Doctor as somebody who was actually changed by being in the Time War.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Like, this was... He's always gone on about it, but this is
But it's just something he's sad about.
Yeah.
But who wouldn't be, and also, what does it mean for you, Doctor?
Yeah, it's like, he's sad, but he's sad because it was a terrible thing that happened.
Yep.
He's like, I was, part of this terrible thing. But here's, first time I've really bought, this totally changed him.
And we see, specifically, something he has done as the main point of the episode, and how that emerged from the Time War.
Yeah.
Interesting change of perspective, because I'd say the Zygon commander Bonnie is the protagonist.
Yeah.
She's the one making the most important decisions, the one taking action. She basically just
This is such a strange Five Nights at Freddy's sequel.
Huh. Did my camera just do something weird?
No, the TV did something weird.
So, the protagonist is the villain, for the most part. She's, interrogating Clara successfully, something that almost no one ever does.
That was actually the biggest flaw for me. That was the only part of the episode I didn't really like, was how quickly Clara caved to interrogation. Because she was like...
Well, the whole time... Go ahead, sorry.
She was like, kind of being like, aha, I'm never going to tell you our secrets. She's like, you're good.
If I killed you?
And she's like, if I could kill you. And she's like, fine, do it. You're not really going to kill me. Yeah, no, I'm really going to kill you. Look, we have the same heartbeat, so I'm not lying to you. She's like, oh, shit, I will do what you say then.
But it's like, the thing about it is, at the time, I assumed that she knew something that Bonnie didn't, and was somehow able to lie about it. And, this was all a manipulation to get them into the chamber, probably to wipe her memory for some reason.
Yeah.
But that's not so at all. She was just completely defeated.
Yeah, it makes sense. Oh, here's another thing I like, before I get back to that. Another thing I like. This is very much a sequel to the previous
episode
story with the
50th.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just...
it very much... It's not just...
Yeah.
A series... The first one felt like a series of events that takes place after. This felt like actually a sequel, thematically.
Yep. It's weird how closely it matches, especially considering it's been more than a year.
Yep.
They're usually, when they come back to things like that, they don't... you don't get the same feel at all.
Yeah.
Someone else cackling the Zygons, do their own thing, whatever. It's Doctor Who. We're nothing if not, lackadaisical? Is that too mean?
I don't know if I'd say something casual about... they don't... Doctor Who doesn't really care about continuity that
They
much.
never have. Yeah.
They never have. It was very clear from something in the second Doctor that the Doctor had 8 previous regenerations. It was very clear from, something in the third Doctor that the Doctor doesn't actually appear as a human.
He's
to aliens. He appears as whatever your species is to you.
But that's not so anymore.
Yeah. So, and then now, there's the, you look to, you look human. No, I don't. You look Time Lord.
So, as an overview of the episode, the big points are, Jenna Louise Coleman plays Bonnie, playing Clara.
Yep.
And she's great throughout.
Jenna Louise Coleman also plays Clara.
Yep. And they have that weird scene, which also doesn't make sense, because, okay.
Oh, I was going to say, I said I'd get back to it, and then I almost didn't.
Yeah.
So back to that scene. I kind of buy it a little more now.
Why?
Yes, this is really my opinion. Am I lying to you? Getting back to it now, I see now that Clara did know that there was no actual chance of anyone really getting hurt by the boxes.
But it's just that...
Oh shit, spoiler!
Oh yeah, spoiler? We'll just put a little banner at the beginning since there are spoilers, so it's easy, everyone will know.
Get like a little banner right in front of that. 3, 2, 1, spoiler!
Oh yeah, we could do that.
Alright. Anyway.
That could be useful.
So yeah. No one was in danger from the boxes.
Yeah.
So I actually did get the idea Clara was... I now can forgive Clara for being easy to cave under interrogation.
Yeah, it all fits.
Because now she was like, I realized retroactively she's being interrogated. It's like for something that's just bullshit.
It's interesting though because we don't know how much she knows because that was all because we're supposed to be in the dark. So I didn't even know that Clara did know about that stuff. I thought that the doctor was just telling Bonnie to go talk to Clara because he had some sort of weird psychic plan for Clara to psychically take control or something that involved that happening. And then I was like, oh, so Clara does know about the boxes.
Yeah.
And that's all right. It's a bit disorienting, but characters knowing things that the viewer doesn't know is fair. It's fair game.
Yeah, and it resolves something that had made me think, why is this character acting out of character?
Yep.
And it turns out she's not acting out of character.
But can we just talk about this?
Yes.
So their bodies are the same. They both have the same heartbeat, and therefore, how can she tell that real Clara is lying if her own heartbeat is also a heartbeat?
Well, the impression was that, like, okay, this is based on the same idea as lie detectors, which are a little bullshit. They don't really work, but assuming for the sake of the universe that in this Doctor Who universe, lie detectors are not really easy to trick.
Yep.
And that an elevated pulse, somebody's pulse elevates and they get these little things when they're lying.
Sure.
So, because they're psychically linked, their emotions affect both of them.
Okay.
So, when Clara is lying, Bonnie's heartbeat would increase.
But one of you isn't feeling the increased heartbeat because you're not lying.
Yes, but you're
so the
stepping
other person,
back and letting the other person, I guess.
So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. They can't both be detecting each other's heartbeats and they need to have different heartbeats and have the same heartbeats.
I don't see why.
It's contradictory.
I mean, it's instead of...
Because
you're basically
if Clara listens to the heartbeat of Bonnie, she might be hearing her own heartbeat.
No, you're by focusing on listening to the other one's heartbeat, you're basically, I got the impression I got was you're sort of subconsciously surrendering control of that function to the other one's psychology.
Huh, how do you do that though?
It's sort of just, that's what's happening when you're listening.
Okay,
here.
this is going to have to be where the argument stops. There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah. Well, and the other one for me was that if you're lying, you will feel like you're lying. I don't know why you'd feel like you're not lying. It's an adjustment to your normal body rate.
And?
Well, it's instead of the one who is kind of changing the one who is making the change is the one who would get the control in that case. It's a default situation. The one which is not default is what you're sensing. I was willing to accept them on face value.
Oh, well, I wasn't really quite so sure. So, ignoring that, should we talk about the episode, the basic beats of the story?
Sure. Before we get into this, though, I did have one other thing I was curious about, because I'd mentioned I loved Capaldi's performance, and you said you had a problem with it.
I did, yeah. Well, not I said with Capaldi. I didn't say with his performance.
Ah, okay.
They gave him a little too much ham, and he performed it the way he had to.
Yeah.
A little bit too much. I see their faces in the last scene. Turns around, gesticulates at the wall.
He could have toned it down a small amount.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it a lot.
I minded it quite a bit, and then cool things happen, so I forgive them.
Because part of the thing about that was they commented that he established it as being like a game show. They had the running theme of a game, because there was a game show called Truth or Consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So they had the running
I forgot
theme.
all about that, even though you told me last week.
They had the running thing of it being like a game show leading up to this, where he's acting like an enthusiastic game show host.
Yeah.
At least they do make a comment of Kate being like, "This, you're treating this like a game."
Yeah, I can clearly tell that she's
Yeah.
treating this as a game. Honestly, it's pretty clever, the whole effect produced by the Truth or Consequences thing. And it's a shame.
And it's like, this is not what
Truth.
this is not what Truth or Consequences, the game show, looks like. But having these two people,
it's close enough.
Yeah.
Whatever. It is.
Well, having these two people on the opposite side, with the ability to press a button, like each has like the same box but a different color, and you have to press Truth or Consequences. It plays out like there could be a game show that looks like this, and it's kind of
it's great.
It struck me as kind of shot a little like a game show.
It's a really great scene.
Yeah.
That scene is the episode. Everything else
Is leading up to that.
Is leading up to it without any particular problems. I wasn't.
Leading
usually
up to
when
this,
usually when I say something like that, that's a criticism. But everything is fine before that. Setting up stakes, basically.
Yeah, setting up
with
like
Mr.
getting us.
Zygon murdering
Oh
himself.
yeah, there was a. So yeah, let's run down through this.
Yeah. So as you said, you knew that the episode was going to be good when Clara woke up, apparently in her own home, and the clock is backwards.
Yeah.
Like, it's just what she's seeing does not make sense, and we're like, huh, there's the Zygon Inversion.
Yep.
Yeah, get it. Yeah. But basically, it was a sign that they were
And
willing
she goes into
to introduce new ideas that not just kick their feet and tread water based on the first episode, but be about something new that follows directly from what we already saw. And then you got this is toothpaste. I'm sure you're about to
she
talk
walks
about.
into the bathroom. She goes to brush her teeth, and the tube of toothpaste just says, "This is toothpaste."
Yeah.
But it's black.
Yeah.
Not
and she freaks out.
Yeah.
But
She's got a problem with black toothpaste. That's not cool.
Yeah. Been a lot of dream stuff
Yeah.
recently.
This whole her being in this section, I did mention it reminded me a lot of Life on Mars, which the guy is constantly able to communicate through, is able to get input from the outside. He can't speak out to the outside, but he gets input from the outside.
That might not be a coincidence.
Yeah.
Life on Mars is not an unknown show.
I was just illustrating where I was, the sort of thing that they do here also. She gets, she sees on the TV what Zygella is seeing.
Yeah. So
it's funny because I was calling her Zygara.
It's like
Zygon Clara.
Well, that makes sense.
But the fact that apparently her Zygon name is very similar.
So she can see things out there, and like I say, might not be a coincidence. Again, that sort of idea could have come from Life on Mars. Easily.
May not be an intentional thing, but it was that sort of putting you in the mood to think of it.
But the dream thing lately. I remember the thing you said when we were watching the episode was, "Ooh, maybe Santa's back."
Yeah,
because I think we share a love of that particular secret villain.
Yes, we should have a short video where we can get into why Santa is the villain of that story,
of the Christmas story.
We will get into that later, but
and it's amazing. But you might have noticed yourself. But regardless, no, he's not back.
Yeah,
but there's plenty of fun to be had. So she can watch what the Zygon attached to her brain is doing. Evil Clara shooting the rocket at the doctor's plane. And she can even control it a little bit.
Yeah, she could use,
Yeah. And for a while I thought this was going to be like the main focus of the episode. That wasn't really it.
No.
This was a story where they had a lot of different things going on, with no one thing feeling neglected to the point where it was stupid and unfair. That
it really was
it was a weirdly minor detail that there's this battle for Clara, battle for the control of Clara on the loose. Like, because it's like, yeah, whatever. We have enough great ideas going on in the story. We don't need to rely on this.
Yeah, it was very good.
It's very good. So she manages to force the rocket launcher off path, and tries to prevent Bonnie from shooting again, but fails. But luckily she bought the Doctor enough time to escape in his amazing parachute.
He has a Union flag parachute.
Yeah. And Osgood, of course, asks why he has a Union Jack parachute. He's like, well, to blend in. It's like camouflage. It's like, what? It's like, we're in Britain. Doctorism. High quality, A+ doctorism.
He's great there.
Yeah.
That's a very Capaldi thing to do. They land on the beach and they're, they're leaving the beach. They have a very nice exchange about how Clara's dead and the Doctor's still hopeful she might not be, and he says it's like incredibly painful.
Mm-hmm.
Good line about that later at the end of the episode too.
And Osgood continues to be good companion material, whether this is going to be a casual thing or a permanent thing at any point. Probably never permanent. Got a feeling about this one.
Yeah, with the ending.
Yeah, with the ending of the story.
But
she's like, "Oh, you're talking nonsense. I see. You're trying to comfort me, distract me, so I won't be scared. That's an old Doctor trick."
Yeah.
You're like, shit. She knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
And they run into.
That's why I would like her as a companion, because she can't be the Doctor can't really bullshit her.
Yes, but he would still do it by instinct.
Yeah.
And it would be a great dynamic for comedy and other things.
Yeah.
So they're quickly surrounded by creepy Zygons who don't even try to pretend to be human.
Yeah, they're like the police officers.
Yeah.
It's a good paranoia thing, is the police are all the shapeshifter.
Yeah, because of course that's who they'd aim for.
Yeah, so the police officers. There was, so we see that, we see Zygon, Zygella, was her name?
Yeah.
Going into, we see her, I think a little older than that, but whatever. Like, finding a guy who's kind of panicking and turning him back into a Zygon.
With a zappy fingers.
Yeah, in public.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very cool moment. And there was a lovely little detail of that scene, which was showing a couple people, like a couple police officers cleaning the hairballs
which are super weird, but if a normal person walking by couldn't point to them and say, "Oh, those are dead people."
Yeah.
They'd just be like, "What the heck are those?"
Why is there electric?
Just sweeping this up, no big deal.
What's with the electric hairball? Yeah.
So no dialogue necessary. You don't need to see any Zygons transform to know that this is terribly wrong and Zygons are in control.
Yeah, and it's unclear based on the fact this guy's panicking and running away, and no one even looks at him.
Yep, because just got a bunch of Zygons around, because she doesn't actually need humans around. That is,
well, it's unclear.
Zygon Clara, she just needs to shoot a video, because her goal, as we quickly discover, especially with her conversation with actual Clara, is to create that panic, to cause a war, cause conflict, even if it means every Zygon dying on Earth.
Yeah.
She just wants a conflict.
Yep. She wants
them to be free and not have to be disguised as dumb humans.
Yeah. She wants the change, but she doesn't know what she wants something new, but she doesn't know what she wants to replace it with. So she really just wants the war.
Mm-hmm.
She wants the fight.
It's true. And it's convincing as a character thing. And then they follow up on it. That's what the story's about. It's just all well told.
Yep.
So we've got...
and then we later, we'll also find out that the guy, kind of ran away and got attacked and had to defend himself.
Yep. And Doctor will find him later and try to talk him out of zapping him with electricity, which is supposed to turn him into an electric hairball, but doesn't work on the Doctor. It's kind of funny because the Doctor barely reacts to getting zapped with electricity that should kill him. He's like, yeah.
He reacts.
I thought
like
he was gonna fall unconscious for a second. Which I would believe, but then he was like back up. He's like, "Come on, why'd you shoot me?"
It was like reacting like an unexpected static shock.
Yeah.
But yeah, that guy thinks that the Doctor is with Truth or Consequences.
Yeah.
The bad guys.
That he's with the Zygon Rebellion, and he, like a lot of Zygons, the episode sets up, don't particularly want to engage in a war with an overwhelming force.
He just wants to be there.
And he doesn't want a war at all, regardless of the forces involved. He just is a guy who happens to live on Earth. And it was so important that they have this guy in the episode, otherwise the stakes would not be set up.
Yep.
So he is a representative of the huge groups of Zygons who do not want conflict, and who are going to be dragged into it if our villains succeed. If our villain protagonist succeeds.
Yep.
So, but Evil Clara makes him transform. He freaks out and ends up electrically hairballing himself. Extremely suspicious. Kate Stewart shows up with 2 guards. Oh, hi, Doctor. We just happened to be here in the mall with you. We found Clara, her pod. Would you like to come with us? He's like, absolutely. Actually, here's the thing.
Before this, there was a good note I want to jump back to.
I don't want to miss any good moments.
The Clara stuff. So the Clara, Clara, her Time Lord name, had taken advantage of the fact that she has some control over the body to text to send the Doctor a text that says "I'm awake."
Yeah.
To prove that she's alive, and the Doctor doesn't get it. The Doctor thinks it's just Zygon propaganda.
Yeah.
And Osgood gets it, which I thought was very cool.
Then of course, well, then there's the this Clara interrogation scene,
which was
which we talked about.
I thought was very well played out.
It was pretty cool.
And then again,
what's up? Oh, Kate Stewart.
Thank you. I was like, Kate, protagonist of Paranormal Activity, shows up with her Zygon guards, and she is a demon, and says, "The Doctor, I've got you on Handycam, and also, do you want to see Clara's body zoomed in on back and forth with like a really shitty cameraman is operating this?" And the Doctor's very hyped for this exciting idea. She says, "Wow, I bet you could spawn 4 or 5 sequels out of this shit."
Absolutely.
We saw Paranormal Activity. We didn't like it.
Here's our review.
Review of Paranormal Activity. Would have been better if it was an episode of Doctor Who.
They have our little interrogation, and then Clara, at the end of it, Evil Clara is like, "Okay, thanks for telling me that I need to go to the Black Archive, and that the Osgood box is there. Now I'm gonna, kill you." He's like, "Oh, but when you get to the archive, you're gonna want me to be there to ask me more questions."
Yep.
And I had no idea if it were a bluff or not, but if it had been a bluff, it would have been a perfect one. And though it wasn't, it was a perfect move.
Yeah.
Because she probably would have died.
Yeah. So Kate shows up and she's like, "These are my Zygon."
To the Doctor.
Yeah, she takes the Doctor to the pod and like, "Oh no, what? I swear her pod was right here." The Doctor's like, and then Oscar's like, "These are Zygons, aren't they?" I was like, tricky guys.
So, of course, Kate Stewart,
as
we thought was maybe possible, was a human.
The whole time, yeah.
I mean, she just wasn't really scared by that one Zygon from the end of episode 1 of this series because he just shot him. I mean, why wouldn't she?
It was kind of funny they needed a recut of it.
Recut to it.
But I was glad I got the payoff of it from the old series. I mentioned how shooting aliens never worked in the old series. So the Brigadier is always saying, 5 rounds rapid. And then they shoot it does nothing. So that was why that she's like, the Doctor's like, "How did you survive?" And we cut to her shooting the 5 rounds rapid. I was like, "Oh, okay, she said it."
So they go off to go meet with Bonnie, and Clara, of course, has been dragged along in her own pod. And, of course, the problem with the Osgood box is that there are two Osgood boxes. Yeah. Like there are two Osgoods. And one
to operate the boxes.
One is blue, one is red. And who's to say? There's one button on the top of each.
Yeah.
Who's to say which one she has to press? Just that, one of them is what she wants, and one of them isn't.
Yeah. So she gets the doctor to tell her which one is the one she wants.
Yeah. And by threatening to kill Clara.
Yeah. And the doctor tells her it's the blue one. She opens the blue one and there's two buttons and it says truth or consequences.
I was really hoping that you would just have to keep pressing buttons and there'd be more and more letters.
She's like always like the next one there's 4 buttons. And
yeah, exactly. Goes up like that. So Kate Stewart and Osgood and the doctor show up, and Kate Stewart show up at the Black Archive where Bonnie is, and Kate Stewart just does not pretend to be a Zygon, and Bonnie doesn't even react to that.
Yep.
But I guess they're short on time, and
they're short on time.
There's a lot going on in Bonnie's life right then. I can forgive that from a writing perspective.
Yeah.
That she didn't have time to go, oh, what? Ah, forget it. Do you know what I don't believe, though?
What?
Because then Kate Stewart goes over to the red box.
Yeah.
Because she's decided that she wants to kill all Zygons.
Yeah.
Because the doctor apparently left the gas that will kill all Zygons in one of the boxes.
Yeah.
I don't believe for a second that the Zygons would let her walk over to that box.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would they do that? If they restrain her, it becomes much simpler for them. Just can they figure out which button to press on which box?
Yeah.
Or even just the blue box if they could trust.
That is a little weird.
It's just just let her go over there. We have this moral conflict that we need to take place. We don't want to win or anything.
Yeah.
So that's weird.
They're busy restraining the companion. So I guess you could say, in their defense, I think were I a Zygon in this case, I might have said, okay, I think it would be easier for it'll
be easier to make sure we have this hostage.
Yeah.
But the problem is Kate Stewart doesn't care as much about Clara as she does about the planet. It was a mistake for sure.
Yeah, but
although it didn't turn out to matter.
Yeah, it pretty quickly did come in. If I remember, also it was immediately she goes to the box and she says, "What do the buttons do?" And the doctor's like, "One of the buttons will, Kate. One of these buttons destroys all the Zygons. One of these buttons blows up London.
Yep.
Bonnie, one of these buttons,
one of these buttons will reveal all Zygons. Yeah. One of these buttons will make it so no Zygons can ever get out of their human forms ever again."
Yes.
The literal exact.
And then he goes into
what she wants.
Yeah, and then he goes into his crazy game show host.
Yeah.
So at that point, I guess the Zygon could have been at first. Well,
at that point, once Kate's at the box, the Zygons can't go towards her, or she might press one of the buttons out of desperation.
Yeah.
So once she gets in position, I have no complaints.
Yeah.
And then it's a pure, extremely obvious but nevertheless appreciated moral game.
Yeah.
So and you don't want the opponent to press a button because
one of the buttons gets everything you want. One of the buttons destroys everything you want.
Specifically of the buttons you have access to.
Yes.
And if your opponent's buttons might give you something you don't want too. So you want to make sure you choose the right one before your opponent chooses the right one. Yeah. So there are a couple layers to the game. And it makes sense that they're at a standstill.
Yeah.
That neither one can make a decision. But Bonnie, of course, and again, this is her story, says, you know what? It's clear that, well, she doesn't say it in this many words, but it's clear that you're not helping me, Doctor, so I think I'm just going to press one of these buttons, and there's a 50% chance that I'll get what I want.
Yep, and the Doctor's explaining why war sucks, basically.
Yeah. And the
you're not, he's like, oh, you'll get what you want. Okay, what do you want? You want the planet? Is that what you want? Okay, what do you do when you get the planet? Oh, So then what? Then what about the people who want to change the planet? What do you do? Oh, you're going to beat them? Okay. Well, maybe you win then. Maybe you win the next time. You're eventually going to lose.
Yeah. I simultaneously... Bonnie is a well-written character.
Yeah.
I simultaneously believe that she is an ideologue who is after something specific, who wants everything to be revealed. But I also believe that such a character would not have a clearly thought-out plan for the future, because, you know, a lot of times you don't. She's just like, well, you know,
as they
it's
say,
not fair, though. Like,
as they say, everyone wants a revolution. No one wants to do the dishes.
it's you know, and the Doctor keeps calling her a child, and it seems to work, because his main criticism of her is that she's not willing to deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
Consequences.
And, I like his line. I'm 2,000 years old. I'm old enough to be your messiah.
I couldn't hear that. That's news to me.
Oh, that was a great line. She was getting nervous being called. She's like, I'm old enough to be your messiah.
So Kate Stewart puts her box down first.
Yeah.
She's not the most desperate, unreasonable one here.
Yeah.
And
that convinces Bonnie to put hers down.
That's the final straw.
And I love, that is the scene also where the Doctor, as we said, like, he goes big ham on being a game show host.
Yeah. But it was a couple of the lines where he was being himself, sort of.
Yeah.
Very emotional about the Time War, and how this entire box scenario that he came up with was just a metaphor for war.
Yeah.
Which is specific, which is a little cheesy, but they do capture something, I think, genuine, in that when you press the button, you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And you don't know who dies. You're throwing the dice, basically.
I definitely empathized with him, because, I mean, I work with kids, and that is an experience I have gotten working with kids, not when they're trying to start the
Doomsday Box,
an interstellar war, but listen, come on, listen. I've been trying to tell you this. Why are you not getting it? I know you can get this. I know it's right there. It's right in front of you. What is the problem?
But she can always go back to, but it's not fair.
Yeah,
and she does.
Yeah, and that is why I bought his hamminess. Is I have felt like that. I have been in the place where, I mean, obviously I'm not like a scarred war veteran or whatever, but like, there's something really simple. This person, you know, they can understand it. They are capable of it. It's right in front of their faces, and they're just not doing it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, like, you try to, I mean, because, again, I want to try to be a good teacher.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I try to explain it without getting that upset. Mm-hmm. It has happened that I've kind of lost my cool with one or two of the students. But, like, it's like, come on. Mm-hmm. I bought that, basically. This growing frustration. But, you know, at the same time, you can't count on the majority of your audience being exasperated teachers. Mm-hmm. So,
it's true.
Maybe that's, you know, a disconnect where I saw, but perhaps could have been done better. Mm-hmm. I thought it was great.
Did you believe it? Leave your comments in the comments.
Yes.
So of course, the other reason that Bonnie puts down the box is like, wait a minute, there's nothing inside these boxes, is there? And the Doctor's like, duh.
Exactly.
Why would I? Okay, he doesn't actually say this, but why would he leave deadly gas that would kill 20 million beings, or the trigger for an atomic bomb, etc., etc.?
Yeah.
Why would he leave those around in these boxes? There's no reason. And more than that, he reveals, and I have some weird questions about this, that this is the 15th time this has happened, and he's just wiped their memories. Because
I'm not sure if that's the 15th time it's happened.
You think he's joking?
I imagine something similar might have happened before.
On a much smaller scale.
On a smaller scale.
That's what I was thinking.
I was thinking
if you told me that there were 14 other Zygon Invasion stories that we never saw, I would stop watching Doctor Who.
Yeah. Because but I feel like
you cannot. What a way
maybe,
to tell me that nothing that happened mattered.
maybe there's Zygons have been another Zygon was found to have assumed the Osgood form and snuck in or something along those lines. Where there's been a couple situations where this happened or where things were getting so bad with Zygon High Command that Kate wanted to. See, I didn't have to try to remember her.
Nice work.
That Kate wanted to destroy it, and the doctor had to do that. But then she's like, "Well, now we know these are just boxes with buttons on them."
Yep.
And the doctor's like, yeah, that's what you said before.
So wipes the memory.
And it just wipes the memory.
That's the memory. Just no one in the unit should enter it.
Yeah.
It's just the doctor's trap.
It wipes the memory of everyone except for Bonnie.
And he's like, so... Oh yeah, there was the great moment when he said, after all the crap you've done, I'm forgiving you. Why can't you forgive? Or everything's just going to be bonkers forever.
Yeah.
And so I'm forgiving you for the deaths you've caused, basically.
Yeah.
He's like, why are you doing this? He's like, I forgave you. And this is important because otherwise I leave the story feeling that nothing has been accomplished.
Yeah.
Because everyone involved has been memory wiped.
Well, except for the protagonist.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Everyone who is mainly going to be dealing with this Zygon situation, basically just Kate and the couple other Zygons who can't know the truth.
Yeah.
They have to keep thinking that there's something in the box for convenience's sake. But nevertheless, to have someone learn something, it would be a garbage ending if Bonnie made a decision and then forgot all about it.
And I think it gives the Doctor a sort of more of a moral position to be in a place of judgment here. Mm-hmm. Where he can say, because it's not just like, you've done something terrible, why don't you just get over the fact that other people do terrible things to you? It's like, yes, you've done terrible things, but I forgive you for them. You've tried to murderify me. I forgive you for this. Just to move on.
Mm-hmm.
I am metaphorically closing my box.
Yeah.
Why don't you literally close yours?
And of course he makes the very obvious connection to the 50th, where he had a box to choose to press. And I got a little bit of a weird, wonkier situation here. Again, it's a sequel, as you say.
It's a good sequel. And it's a good episode.
It's a sequel to two different stories.
Yeah.
The two stories which didn't have have nearly as much to do with one another as this one did have to do with both of them.
Yeah.
Kind of weird how that works.
Yeah.
But at this point, of course, in the story, I was like, shame Osgood wasn't that important.
Yeah.
And she's not that important from a strict interpretation of the action.
Yeah.
But she's great at the end.
Yeah. Well, she's definitely important from a symbolic standpoint.
From a symbolic,
have
thematic,
both,
et cetera.
That she, as the symbol of the peace, survives.
Mm-hmm.
And then that she, as the symbol of the, and then that, so at the end, first we see Bonnie go to Zygon High Command and officially say, "But we've resolved everything, stand down."
Yeah. And incidentally, at this point, I'm thinking, this is not going to be great for Bonnie, is it? Because someone's going to be very upset with her, surely.
Yep, and then...
But they cut away, and I forget about it for the moment.
And then we see Osgood, the Doctor offers Osgood, do you want to be my companion now? And Osgood's like, yes, but I've got stuff to do.
Yeah. I think I'll stay on Earth and deal with the situation which we just discovered was extremely dangerous with the Zygons and 20 million secret people who may want things that aren't great for the planet.
Yeah, it's like, I've got to stay here and keep the peace. I wish I could.
Yeah.
And then another Osgood steps out from behind her.
Yeah.
And then again, symbolically, the peace is totally restored.
Yeah.
There are again two Osgoods.
Yeah.
And this Osgood is Bonnie. And she's got, she says it has a very good line for it, where it's like, it didn't seem fair that I keep using Clara's face when there was a vacancy. And it works. I think it works showing Bonnie becoming this protector of the peace.
Yep. it's such a weird conclusion. It's so satisfying.
Yeah. The doctor asks her, like, I have to know, are you the Zygon or the human? She said, I'll tell you someday when no one cares about the answer.
Yeah.
That was a great line. And that line was from Bonnie.
Be friends. Yeah. So they're going to go on, and now Osgood has Osgood back.
Yeah.
And they're together again.
Yeah.
Because that's the weird thing. It sort of blows my mind, because surely I should care about, and I do care about, the person who died in last season. But being Osgood is a choice you make. You can become Osgood. You can choose. I can be Osgood. You can be Osgood. We all can be Osgood.
I'm Osgood.
So like, and that's weird. Like, it's almost like you just truly do become her, and that also works for thematic reasons.
Yeah, and it is. Clara even had a surprisingly important role in the story of getting into the Zygon's head, as the doctor put it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, being Clara, as it even like plays in a little bit, being in Clara's body gives you some of Clara's thoughts.
Yeah.
So being in Osgood's body would give you some of the Osgoodian.
Yes.
And I'm obviously I don't expect a story about it. I would be very invested in seeing the story of how Osgood teaches Osgood to be Osgood.
The problem with that is that means in any scene that we watch, we will know which one is which. Because, by the way, they said they had a comment in that closing scene where it's like, for both, we need to both be Osgood, blah blah blah, something something, for the sake of both our races.
Yeah.
So we now know that the Osgood we saw during that episode would be the human one.
Yeah.
And therefore, Bonnie is the new Zygon half.
Yeah.
So that means it was
Zygon Osgood.
Yeah. So that means it was Zygon Osgood who got murdered by Missy in last season's finale. Yeah. So, if anyone figured it out and that was what you figured out, you're right.
Yeah. That said, I could also make the argument that the human, that the Osgood human in this, like, was the Zygon, and either one, the first one, she may just be making other Osgood think that she is the human half. Two, it is not, as you say, Osgood is a choice you make. Personally, I've always believed Osgood is a choice. Osgood is if Osgood is a choice to be two races.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the choice to be human, like you are the Zygon half, I am the human half, but it's the choice to say both of our races is both of us.
Yes.
Yeah. And like as you say, you would know in every scene which is which, and that is why.
But I don't care as much about that as I do about having the episode where we watch Osgood teach Osgood how to be Osgood.
Yeah. So, any other final thoughts?
Final thoughts.
Aside from next episode.
Yeah, I guess. Well, let's have I don't have any final thoughts, so maybe we could give grades.
Yes, well, final thoughts. I'm grade. I'm going to give it an A.
I'm going to give it an A, too.
And I'm going to add, we did mention that there is a hypothetical S grade. See, we've sort of revised our way of thinking about this.
Yeah. I noticed that there wasn't enough headroom. I wanted to give last episode an A because there's almost nothing wrong with it, but I believe in truly exceptional stories that don't come up very often, that might never come up in a season.
At the end of the season, we will give sort of a season in review.
Yes.
Which will include revised grades, sort of retrospectively, retroactively, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that season in review, we would consider if there's any S's. Because at the S grade...
To be clear, I so far would doubt I would give any S's. I would give it to something which would strike me so personally that I would never forget it. Yeah. And I could never possibly forget it. That's the sort of story that I would give an S.
Yeah. But, you never know. You might even retroactively look back at this and see it as something. I mean, I increased my opinion of certainly one story from this season already.
Which one?
I'll be telling.
Okay.
So the S grade will be not just, you know, incredible story, Doctor Who, but like once in a generation seminal work of science fiction style.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't think,
Or work of fantasy. This is Doctor Who.
science fantasy really.
Yeah, science fantasy. There.
Which is I like the. One last thought also about the episode, and then I guess before I've said A, hypothetically typo. The doctor, Clara asks, like, says, like, you thought I was dead. And the doctor says, that was the hardest month of my life.
Yeah.
And Clara says, it was 5 minutes. I'll be the judge of time. And then they go. I thought that was kind of a good line.
Yep. Although I did think, is it possible it was a month? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So that was a little distracting.
Well, that's why she immediately answered it.
Oh, man. So, next episode.
So yes, this is our other final plot. Screw that episode! Base Under Siege!
Another base under siege. I'm so excited. And they're going to I'm calling it here, getting attacked by their own nightmares that they're not having because they're not sleeping. Because
oh my gosh, this is like that X-Files episode.
It is like that X-Files
X-Files episode! Woo! High five!